saw the guard soon, Kenny.
We discovered that Havertz could play, a false number 9, and we were basically battering teams. And believe it or not, that's when we actually looked like we could win the league.
That run towards the second half of the last season that year. I thought maybe we might just do it,
We looked like champions. The only problem we had is that because we were behind the 8 ball with Liverpool first, who were basically 7 points ahead of us, it got it down to 5 points, and then you had Man City waiting in the wings. There was no margin for error. So, despite the fact we
found margins for error,
front runners, it was always a case that if we dropped points, we lost, and Man City got in front of us, they were not going to let us back.
Yeah, but they're gone. Lewis Hamilton thing, they're gone.
Without a shadow of doubt, is Mikel Arteta's best ever team. Easily. And what we want the 25-26 side to be a replica of that. But for it to be a replica of that, he has to get the best out of Eberechi Eze.
Which draws me back to Eze, Kenny, because
but on their part, the step up in expectation, the step up in class, and the step up in levels, they have to make that level as well.
But do you think they're down? Do you think, I'm not accusing anyone of anything here, because I think you are right in that, with the greatest of respect to Crystal Palace, not saying we're the biggest and baddest, but it's the same if Eze went from Palace to any of the top 6, top 5 and Spurs. You're just, it's as dumb as it sounds, you're just a good player in and amongst other good players. But then at the same time, I understand if Mikel Arteta thinks he's not a winger. I don't agree with it, and he doesn't want to play Martinelli. He's got his favourites in Odegaard. He doesn't want to change Rice or Zubimendi and all of those kind of things. I get it. I fully get it. But then I'll bring myself to the fact of, do you think Mikel Arteta could be downplaying Eze? Because for me, the man's a star. I hear everything, but the man's a star. Like, he's a maverick. He's someone that, you pay to watch. He gets bums off seats. Him and Saka could be like, to a degree, Mane and Salah. I don't think long-term Eze's things off the left, but we could run that right now. Because whether it's Eze, whether it's Gyökeres, we need to be different anyways. These guys are forcing you to do different stuff, Gaffer.
We've showed that, and that's the thing. I always say, the expression I always use, move the compass tactically. To either you want to move it east or west or north, but you don't want to move it south. It has to go up.
Yeah, God forbid.
Or across. That's how I think Arsenal.
And we don't create enough high-quality chances for this comment.
But the thing about it is that the players are there. The opportunities are there to do that. But it's half and half. Yes, Christopher, yeah. I'll definitely be watching the Ashes. Watching the Ashes this November. I think Deluded Gooner, who should be leaving Edmonton to move to Archway. Thank you, Kwame.
Nah, Edmonton's way better. Edmonton's the best place in North London. Archway.
Hey, don't you dare talk about Edmonton. We used to take the mickey out of Edmonton. We used to call it the Tottenham of Enfield. Edmonton Green was like, I'll tell you what, Edmonton Green.
I know Edmonton Green slander either, man. That's my home.
Let me tell you something. Edmonton Green back in the day, and I don't know what he's like now. Edmonton Green was like, it was like going back in time. And when I say back in time, we're talking space age. If you know, Edmonton Green was like a Tottenham of Enfield.
Sounds like Edmonton's always been a shithole, but it's my toilet bowl, man.
I'm not putting it down, but you come to Archway. Don't get me wrong. You'll see a lot of. There'll be no in Archway.
Man.
In Archway, you'll be seeing a lot of budgings, but they'll have gluten-free budgings.
That's what I'm saying. That's all gentrified over there, man.
You buy a sandwich for £10 that I could have made you in 5 minutes.
Exactly. We're the good side of Seven Sisters Road, apart from the football team. We're the good side over there. We got the culture.
Well, I don't know. I think Seven Sisters ends when it comes. It depends. Are you Edmonton 4 or Edmonton Green?
Edmonton 4, 4th Street.
Oh, so you're Edmonton 4, so you're N18. All right, I'll let you off. Edmonton Green's needs a lack of pain, but Edmonton 4, they've done a lot of good stuff with it.
To be fair, Edmonton Green's looking more modern than my side. Well, I'm always in Edmonton Green. That's what I'm
right. You're damn right. 50 years later.
4th Street hasn't had anything. Like we actually need some gentrification. We need like a Nando's or something.
No, you know the thing about the gentrification, mate. For it to be gentrified, it has to be a close proximity towards central London, a close proximity to the city.
Yeah, but you got the Spurs Stadium.
Yeah, I know.
And now you got, and you, as you know yourself, yeah, you got Beyonce and all these guys and girls coming to Spurs. Obviously, people won't, you know, and I will know, but like people are coming from all over. So if you're coming from like Edmonton, well, let's say all the way from Waltham Cross, obviously it's a straight line all the way down to probably like give or take. Actually, there's too much football. They're gonna need
you've got one problem. The problem you've got is that the football club's based in Haringey, and you're just in Enfield. So in terms of business rates and infrastructure, that sort of Haringey going to benefit from it, not Enfield.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's actually a shame.
And you're in zone 4. You know, zone 2 to 3 is where gentrification of London, especially North London. You're seen as you're an outer borough, even though where you are isn't outer London, but it's seen as outer London.
It's cool though. When I get to 100k subs, I'm running for London. Well, not even London mayor, Edmonton mayor. I'm going to change all of this, people. Vote DG, and when it comes,
you can't change the boundaries that have been there for hundreds of years.
Well, we can do stuff, man. Just let me in Parliament. We can do stuff, man.
Look, enjoy yourself. Oh, by the way, mate, I hasn't kept the notice that I've seen you on. Do you do watch-alongs for? Did you do watch-along the Liverpool Arsenal game?
Yeah, on TalkSport. Yeah. It was tough watching that goal, man.
I did feel for you when that goal went in. I felt for you.
My heart ripped out. I was like, oh my days. I got a shit record being there.
I see videos of shocking your face because I just swore. I swore in frustration, but I just felt for you. And I thought he wants to swear, he wants to throw something, but he's on national
keep it composed.
National radio. He's got to keep his poise. I don't know how you did it.
I just put my mind elsewhere. I just think at that particular moment, I thought, do you know what? The minute I leave here, I'm going to a party anyway. So it is what it is.
Do you actually get the Sky Sports commentary, or do you get when you're there?
When I'm there, no. It's literally just us talking. Obviously, like
but like the TV cameras. Are they from Sky or from
They got like the Premier League rights. Well, they got all their rights, all of their rights. So they watch the 3 o'clock game.
So it's not like
hear the commentary when it's on. Well, we can't hear the commentary, but yeah, all the games. That's one thing about being there. Get the 3 o'clock games.
But yeah, you know, going back to the situation regarding the way we play, the guarantee, right? Because I was arguing with Gal, and he says, you can't look in the crystal ball. You don't know how to play. I said, look, Gal, whenever you watch Arsenal play, 2 things, you kind of can close your eyes and you can say, right, this is a style, this is the formation, this is a style of play, this is the personnel. And he's going on like our manager at the moment. He's some sort of like innovative, you know, like a sort of like
no, we need that now, man, because
he's not them. He's not them. Like me and him had an argument. Me, him, and Christian had an argument about PSG away the second leg. Did you see it the second leg where they were saying that he changed things for the second leg? I said, well,
second leg against you,
PSG. And my argument, you know, when they beat us 2-1 in Paris, you know, I said, my argument,
there was no change. Partey came back in, so naturally other players went back in their role.
You know, my argument with them, he said that the only reason why he changed the way he played is because if he went past for toe to toe with PSG, they would have killed us. They would have been dead. So the first 20 minutes, when we were playing the long ball game and we're using set pieces, what I said to them is that
we're trying to nick it and build from that.
Yeah, we built from that. But when PSG weathered the storm and Donnarumma started catching the ball and started dominating an area, and after that we were dead because we had to play football.
We gave it a good goal. We just weren't levels.
Yeah, but after that they dominated the game. They murdered us. Actually murdered us.
But that's the thing, Kenny, though, man. It's like I think we're at that point, and I think some fans are guilty of it, and I hear it. You know, even when we lose, we don't get battered. We're even with the Liverpool game to a degree. The fine margins and the relevant statistics that people brush over tell you the story. But possession, shots on target, what the
it's never happened under this manager.
But my point is, all of that stuff is even. My point now is, there's a reason we all love football. You know, you're older than me, and we always have good conversations about how you watched Maradona and we saw Declan Rice against Real Madrid. Those things that you can't factor in football as to no one could see happen. That's what we're missing. We're missing that randomness and scenarios and situations where players can provoke that. Actually,
isn't that football in general?
Some trap of looking at paper and stats too much.
Yeah, but isn't that football in general where you know, if you think, you know, not so much prior to Pep, but if you look at football in general, I go back to football has evolved. The Premiership has evolved. You know, when the Premiership was when the Premiership was first established, the first games of the Premiership, we didn't have the foreign players, we didn't have the foreign managers of panache. Basically,
Big up Wenger for bringing
foreign
that through.
manager, if the only foreign manager we had was probably Aston Villa in 1990, when they had a guy called Joseph Venglos, who managed Czechoslovakia in the World Cup, and he got the job for one season at Aston Villa, Joseph Venglos, and then he lost his job, and they gave that job to Graham Taylor. I think no, they gave the job to Graham Taylor, and then he got the England job. But if you look at it, we had English managers. The only foreign manager was Scottish or Welsh, or maybe Northern Irish, and basically, the blueprint for English football was devised by a guy called Charlie Hughes, where it was basically a long ball game. So most of the clubs were playing long ball football, and it became the refined long ball. And then obviously, you know, when we started getting the foreign players like Cantonars, Man United led the way, not the Forest were trying to lead the way. Everyone wanted to play football now. It was no long ball. Everyone wanted to play football because England didn't get to the World Cup in '94. Terry Venables came with England. You know, you remember? I don't know if you're old enough to remember Euro '96, but you would have been told about it. Euro '96.
Yeah, I went there for that.
3 lines in the chest and everything. Everyone wanted to play football, and it evolved. And we got foreign players. We started getting foreign managers, and then we started playing attacking football. And then, obviously, Mourinho came along. He basically.
Don't forget Wenger. Don't forget Wenger.
Obviously, you mentioned Wenger. You know, where obviously he had the Harlem Globetrotters, which I call our team, where basically at Arsenal, it's how you wanted it. If you want to play football, yeah, we'll play with you. You want to fight? Yeah, come on then. We're big enough.
And that's what we need now.
We were like a team for all seasons. And then obviously Mourinho came along, got big lads who replicated what we did. And then tactically, he saw off the Invincibles. And then Sir Alex Ferguson came again. He had players like Ronaldo and all those players. Ronaldo, Carrick, Ferdinand, Rooney, they tend to dominate. And then after Sir Alex's retired, you had Pep came along. And then slowly and surely, when Pep first came to Man City, they weren't playing the way they're playing now. They're an attacking, dominant side, scoring goals for fun, getting 100 points, 98 points. And then they've evolved into this side where everyone wants to play like them. And I think that's how football's evolved, is that we've moved at times where now to play football, you've got to be an athlete. You're actually more useful to your side, just as useful to your side when you do things off the ball than you are when you're on the ball.
I'm happy you said that, because when I said that on my stream, people said I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, that's exactly how football's evolved. Whether you like it or not, defenders, it's not just defenders shouting if you don't work off the ball. It's managers. Do you remember the Spurs documentary? You know, the one, the Amazon documentary where,
and we see it with Arteta every week as well.
You remember with Spurs one, Lloris and Song were having an argument because
towards about the end of the first half or something.
In the first half, Song's not making that run, and Lloris is ready to fight him.
Now they both play for the same team again.
Yeah, but that's the thing now. Off the ball, Ivan Toney. Why do you think Ivan Toney never got a gig after he left Brentford? He had to go to Saudi Arabia because a lot of people were impressed with the fact that he scored loads of goals. They liked that. Off the ball, they weren't having it. Arsenal were not interested. Man United were not interested. Spurs were not interested, even though all the teams needed a striker. It's what he does off the ball, and that counted against him.
So is that right or wrong in general now?
For modern football, it's wrong. For the way we like to play, it's wrong. But for managers, yeah, it's the right thing to do. You have to be good off the ball. You have to work.
Which I hear, but I would say Arteta, cool, 50% Gyökeres do that. 50% just put the man in the box.
Yeah, but that's not just. But that's everyone. Look at Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy, he was in his first. He's still chasing our defenders and working on. He got
to move to Italy as well.
He's nearly 40 when he was at Leicester, and that's the thing. If you don't do that, you don't play.
And that's the reality of it. That I agree with.
Managers do not care whether you score 30 or 40 goals. They don't want that. What they want, They'll rather you score 15 or 6 between 15 and 16 goals, but we're difficult to beat, and the goals come from all over the shop. You know what I mean? Haaland and Mbappe are the exception to modern day football. The way the
Yeah,
game is,
because of who they are and the standard they play
yeah.
at.
Mbappe is the best player in the world at the moment because the stats suggest he is. Statistically, he is. He's won the World Cup at 19. At 19.
I hear you, and I used to say that,
Yeah,
but in the last 2 years,
19.
a certain
Yes,
Spanish thing has come about,
there's
man.
other players catching up to him, but right now, you
Yeah,
look at
Mal's best in the world, Kenny.
right now, you get his records. You look at the teams he's played for. His record suggests he's the best.
I think Mbappe is disrespected in today's day and age, if I'm brutally honest. Haaland as well.
But the Mbappe who had a shit season at Real Madrid scored 30.
How do people say that was shit? How many goals he got?
Yeah, but he scored was it 34 La Liga goals? And
yeah, man. People just fixing their dirty mouths to just say anything.
He had a crap season and he was a flop in Spain, but he got 34 goals. Make that make sense.
Because people got agendas, man. People say, "Oh, he's just a kick and run merchant." And Mbappe is absolute special. He's an Arsenal player that's never going to play for a club.
And he's got 52 goals for his country. He's not even 27. He's not even 26 yet, and he's got 52 goals for his country already.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous. Haaland's record is insane.
27 this year as well. Time flies, Mbappe.
He's insane, but they're the exception to compare. Now, when you compare him to other strikers, they're an exception. Most strikers will, if they score 20 goals, you pay £100 million on them. It's a fact, though, isn't it?
And you're looking at 50, 60, 70, 80 for average forwards. You look at Højlund, you look at what we got with Gyökeres, you look at Solanke, who scored less than Havertz, and people got a lot to say about our players.
But these players that you're spending 60 grand or 70 grand on, their best efforts are 13 or 14 goals.
And I think we've got the capacity to. I genuinely think we've got the capacity for Saka to be in double figures. Mainly Eze on that left-hand side, if he was there to get double figures. Gyökeres to get double figures. Mikey, I'm sorry because I know me and Kenny have been speaking. Yeah, I'm sorry for leaving your question up, so I'll get to it now. What are you saying for this, Kenny? What are you saying for this question, Kenny?
Have we not seen this?
Have we not seen this season is maneuver teams out of low blocks to mid blocks? Wasn't this how we set up Gyökeres to score the kind of goals he likes to score? I think he means moving the ball out of a low block into a mid block. I think that's what he's saying. I'm unsure.
No, I think Mikey's right. I think that's that. But that's that's the situation with the personnel you have now. Like for instance, the three players who can get us into those situations are obviously Eze. Zubimendi has been brought. That's why you always hear me saying that you can't compare.
God's green earth, Mikey. Have we been pessimistic? What are you talking about? The green shoots. There's nothing evident that we're doing different. But anyways, Kenny, go on. What the hell?
What I'm trying to say is that with Zubimendi in the side, he's not Partey, but what he does, he gives us something different from Partey. Because he gives us something different. You can't compare them because one's a disruptor and helps the conductors. This one is not a disruptor. He's a conductor. He's a different kind of number 6. He's a conductor. But what this conductor does, we wanted this conductor to do. We've got this conductor in the team because teams are setting up defensively against us.
I think you said it last week in that Zubimendi was bought for Europe, and I think it was an interesting way you phrased it at the time.
I still believe that. I still believe that one thing in Europe that any team, especially an England team, needs is that if you want to win the European Cup, you have to have someone who can dictate the play. You look at the times when English clubs have won the European Cup, they've had players who can dictate the play. Liverpool did in 2019 when they got to the final. They had players who can dictate the play and close it down. When Chelsea won it in 21, they had Jorginho who can close it down, dictate the play. Man City, you see the midfielders they had in 23. You can even go back to all the times in Europe. You have to have someone who can dictate the play. International league, the Champions League is akin to international football. It's all about keeping the ball. That's how I look at it. And I think this is where Zubimendi comes in. So, we've shown this last couple of seasons that we want to be competitive and not just the Champions League. sorry, the league. We want to be contested in the Champions League. The two reasons why we lost our games is because one, we had teams who were better than us on the ball, better than us in conducting
And
the
could
play.
take those fine margins, those two
Yeah.
chances, and do their
Our
thing.
mixed midfield were better than us in those two games in 24. PSG, as we know, were better than us in midfield, and they matched us for aggression when needs be.
Well, let me ask you that, Kenny, because you said PSG, and that's a great example because of what we've seen Luis Enrique. Now, I always say, yeah, obviously we are not PSG. Luis Enrique is many different worlds and galaxies, even apart from Arteta. But in terms of how they look at the game, they do both. They do micromanage. They do think about eventualities. You do have to work off the ball. But maybe I'm being naive, and I know it's not the same, Kenny, but like, why is Luis Enrique able to do the same things mid-block, low-block as well? Why is Luis Enrique able to do the same things that I see in Arsenal, in Mikel Arteta's Arsenal? But then when I look at the final third, and Dembele is still defending, but wingers are swapping. You know, the six is Neves. He's the furthest up. How have they found that freedom within a framework? Because they're making it work. That's what we should do.
Right, look at the personnel. Look at the personnel. You look at the team he had previously. He initially had Mbappe,
Messi. Wait, was he there with him? I don't know if he was there.
I don't know if he was there with Messi, but he definitely had Mbappe. I don't know if he was there for Messi and Neymar, but let's talk about the team that got to 24 European Cup semi-final. That team, if you compare it to the team that got to European Cup final and won the European Cup, that's night and day. He's got younger players who obey his instructions. Bacola, Doué, Vitinha, will obey him and work off the ball to win games. Who's that?
Yeah, but he's still he's got a tune out of Dembele. They always say Dembele attitude, all this jazz.
Yeah, but they would not won the European Cup if they didn't do the groundwork. They didn't work hard to the ball. He's convinced all those players to work off the ball. They're all ballers. Bacola's a baller. Doué's a baller.
I think we do that. Arsenal needs to do his part now.
Dembele, you know, should win the Ballon d'Or, but Liverpool fans want to give it to Salah. But you know how this works. But he works hard for the ball. He works hard. You know, who else is in midfield? Was it Palhinha? No.
They got Neves, Vitinha,
Neves and Vitinha. They work their nuts off the ball.
And especially Neves, because he's the sixth on paper. Sometimes he's next to their forward. Arteta can do this.
Have you noticed that they work their nuts off? And basically, their fullbacks can initially they like to go bomb on
as well.
But if need be, they will invert. But what's happened is that they're very strong with the ball. Now, last season, he had players who weren't doing that. Hence the fact that when they played Dortmund, they lost home and away in those two legs because Dortmund, basically, all they did, low block, got the goal, and then shut up, closed the door. The semi-final, second leg, Dortmund and PSG, that was basically a team that waited, made themselves difficult to beat, weathers the storm, and then Hummel's head up, boom, shut the door. And that's how they got to the final.
So do you think it's a case of like, there both is freedom within a framework, yeah? And then obviously, I'm not saying this to Kenny, but for people that are listening, I'm no way suggesting individually and collectively Arsenal and PSG are in the same realm, right? But I do think both teams are very intelligent. All the players know what they want to do and where they need to be and all of that. I think the difference with Luis Enrique is I think he leaves nothing to chance. I think he tells them what he wants to do. I think he micromanages and all of that. But there's still a couple percentages of you don't go out and play. You lot are sensible. You know when you need to track back. Should Arteta stop holding people's hands then? If that
I hear you, but let's not forget, no one can micromanage. What's his name? Can manage Mbappe. You know what the situation with Mbappe? Basically, the PSG owners they're as good as told Mbappe in order to keep him and stop him from going for Real Madrid initially. They're basically telling you ran the club. They gave her a blank check on everything. They gave her a blank check in player salary. They gave him a blank check around the club. I'm surprised they didn't give him shares in the club. They were that desperate to keep him. So there's no way.
Probably does have some hidden shares.
Micromanage him.
wheeled out the French president to keep him 1 year as well.
There was no way going to happen. So like that, you're not going to. And it wasn't just him; there were other players as well who basically were not following the league. Now, when you've got Doué, a kid, Bacala, a kid, Vitinha, I think that Vitinha,
he's at Wolves. They missed the trick.
He was playing he wasn't. What I mean in lows, he wasn't playing in a top league in Europe, but he came. He came to PSG. He's going to do as he's told. Neves is going to obey him. Dembele, they had a falling out before the game at the Emirates.
These men are going to obey Arteta as well.
But Dembele didn't initially do it. Let's not forget our best performance
into Luis Enrique still.
Our best performance last season, where we played total football, we looked brilliant, was against PSG in the league game. We beat him 2-0, but that was our best performance. Dembele didn't play because he fell out with his manager.
Yeah. And then he's obviously wheeled himself back in. And
exactly. But in order for him to get back in the team, he has to obey the manager and work his nuts off the ball. And just face it, he did all of that and he got 35 goals in the league. And I think he got about 40-something goals, league and cup goals. And he's won a Champions League. The only thing he didn't win was the World Club Championships. But he got the final.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, Arteta just put the handbrake down a little bit, man, and let the players go, man. You might lose 5% defensively. We might gain 5% in the final third.
He's got to take the shackles off because there's only a situation. You have to get the best out of your players, especially your better players. We have to find a different way of breaking these teams down as well. And, the personal's there and able to do that. So you've got the goal scorer, who I've got reservations about, but his record shouts that give him a chance. And you've got Eze, who he did a chance. Now this is a guy that you just brought up. He has to have a good season.
You see him for Norway. He's back. He's back. You're gonna have to respect the captain now. He's back.
He has to have a good season and even then, it's not a guarantee. Because I said on Dan's show yesterday,
you see his assist.
Yeah, that's it. I saw his assist, but he has to have a good season. In 23-24, he played well. Saka played well. Havertz played well. The defense was unbelievable. Our goalkeeper was
allowing him to float and get on his left foot, just like we saw for Norway.
We still didn't win. Partey came to the fore good, but we still didn't win because at the end of the day, mate, we left it with no margin of error. This time, where there's no margin for error, he has to get to the best ability. And I'm sorry, it was only Moldova. I'm sorry, Moldova.
You can only play what's in front of you, Kenny.
Yeah, but even so, when you play teams like Moldova, it's not you're going to win. It's a case of how many you win by.
He's playing for Norway, so he's only got 2 decent players.
The fact is, he's got no credit in the bank. He has no credit in the bank.
He's our captain. Of course, he's got credit in the bank. This is
he hasn't. Class season, his form was so bad that as far as I'm concerned, despite the fact
on one ankle though, Kenny, man,
it doesn't matter. He's got no credit in the bank because the standards he set in 23-24 and 22-23 was way below. He let's not forget. Yes, he had an injury, but he was back. He came back for the Chelsea game, which was in November, middle of November. He came back. In fact, I got the date of when he came back. I think it was a Sunday. Wasn't it the 10th, the 10th of November on a Sunday?
What, last season at the Bridge?
Last season at the Bridge. It was the 10th of November on a Sunday. Yeah. The season ended in May. So if you're saying that, Gal was suggesting he came back in the new year, which is completely
I don't know about that.
Misconception on his part, purposely, I thought. And then he said that in the last month in May, last few games of the season, he played well. Really?
He did look like he was getting back to some level.
Really? He was poor.
Bar is on the floor. I am not saying it was a madness,
he was not. He was nowhere to be seen in the.
Are we forgetting the Bernabeu?
Other players took the baton.
Huh? He was nowhere to be seen.
Away. He was no. It was Mourinho.
He weren't nowhere to be seen.
It was Mourinho who set up the goals.
You need to watch the build-up play for Saka's goal again, Kenny.
PSG home and away, he was nowhere to be seen. Yes, he had that shot. Great save by Donnarumma. We're in PSG.
Everyone was shit against PSG home and away. Everyone was shit against PSG home and away.
That shot against that hit the post and got headed in for headed in on a rebound from Rio. You're saying about that?
No, I'm saying Saka. Remember when Saka dinked the keeper? Who was the orchestrator? It was this guy.